What message do you need to hear as we go into this week ahead? Give me a quick hello. Let me know where you're watching from and what the weather's like by you. Has fall officially started? Fall is here as far as colors of trees, but holy cannoli, it's going to be like almost 80 degrees this week. So interesting week ahead. I'm just making sure I'm live in all the places and that you can hear me. So make sure to drop me a little hello to let me know that you can hear me as well. All right, I am almost live in all the places. Excellent. So what I love to do, hello, Julie, glad to have you, and warm in Nashville too. It makes for an interesting time when we see these beautiful fall leaves and we're ready. The holiday season already feels like it's in the air here. There was a fun meme going around right after like 8:01 p.m. on Halloween night saying, time to put up your decorations. Christmas music starting. It's always fascinating how we jump into the holidays. There's almost this sense that we can understand that time is picking up, speed's picking up. Things are happening much more quickly, and they are as we move into the age of Aquarius. So let's talk astrology, let's talk tarot, let's talk the moon. I have a lot that I want to dive into this week, but we'll start with a quick card reading. Karen, great to have you. And Cindy, how fun to have you on with me live. So just place your hand on your heart and tune into your energy. And we're just going to ask what's most important that you need to know as we go into this week ahead. And I see who pops up. And two actually wanted to pop up. Community is more important now than ever. The Three of Cups, the people who have your back, the people that you lean on. I'm going to invite you that as fast as time is moving right now, as busy as our lives are, make some time to catch up with friends. Make some time to make sure that you pour back into the community that is given to you or the community that you wish to be a part of. The cool thing about the Three of Cups is that it is an energy that we don't always recognize when we're in it. Meaning, we have our friends, maybe we go out for dinner, we go out on adventures, hiking, play. But when life is really hitting, when things go sideways, we can count on our friends to be there to help bolster us. And this week, you might be called on to be that friend for someone. So I'm going to just kind of put that out there. The other thing that popped up, the Ace of Wands. This is an opportunity of, I was talking about it last week, and this is so funny because it could be new job opportunities. It could simply be new ideas and insights. And this week I do feel it a little bit differently, but I had someone watch the reading last week and I had tuned in and I felt like, okay, there might be new job opportunities for some of you out there. And sure enough, she had a new job opportunity. It was so cool. We got to do an in-depth reading last night, one-on-one. I do offer those. If you're curious, look in the links around here to set up some time with me. But this really comes across as the opportunity for new beliefs, new ways of thinking of things. Now, why is that? It's because Mercury is getting ready to go in shadow before it's retrograde. And we're going to talk all about that. And if we haven't met yet, by the way, my name is Irina Miller. I am an energy alchemist, a spiritual life guide, and an astrologer. And it is my calling and my joy to connect curious seekers like yourself to the sacred practices and tools that enable you to live the life you were born to live. And this is something that I have been pursuing and studying and certifying in so many different sacred practices over the last 3 decades. This is my heart. This is my soul's calling. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to do this deep work. Because when I look at the theme of this week, it really is a theme about uncovering buried truths. The Scorpio sun is offering you the opportunity to take a deeper look at the things that often we just bury, we just push down because life is busy. There's no crying in baseball, meaning we don't have time to feel all the feelings and all the emotions. We've got work to do. We can't slow down enough. And sure enough, life is speeding up. But this week is encouraging you, yes, to be objective, to take things from a bird's eye view, put it into a logical perspective, and know that when we go into that observer role, we can more easily be aware of the emotions or the truths that may have been stuffed down throughout the year. Scorpio season is great for that. It's saying what has been hiding in the shadows. We're going to shine a light on that because those are the very things that might have been tripping you up all along and holding you back, keeping you playing small, keeping you stuck in the same relationships. Maybe you switch jobs, but you end up with a quote unquote same boss or coworkers. Maybe you move towns and it's no better there than where you were. Maybe you're dating this new awesome person and you realize, oh my gosh, they have all the same ticks and quirks that drove me nuts in the last relationship. This is saying, let me go deep into the emotions, into the beliefs, and see what has been shifting in the subconscious underneath the surface, so that if I make the shift there, and that's what I see as an energy alchemist that we do, we go deep into that area to make the shift. Because let's talk just for a moment about Mercury in retrograde. Mercury officially goes into retrograde November 25th, all the way to December 15th. Yep, double check my notes. And we are in a period called the shadow period. So for about 2 weeks or so, roughly, before Mercury goes retrograde, starting this Thursday, we're in the shadow period. And it just basically means we're getting a little bit of a preview of what to expect in this upcoming Mercury retrograde. And this particular one, first you just say, okay, what does a retrograde mean? Because all the planets can go retrograde. Retrogrades are times to slow down, do all the revisit, refine, renew, redo, review, I want to say recreate. It's a time of just going inward. And then you take that retrograde meaning and you combine it with the representation or symbolism of the planet. And Mercury has to do with communication. It could do with technology, anything with moving parts. So that includes your cars. Many times when Mercury goes retrograde, people are like, oh no, everything's breaking down. Like my tech's not working, miscommunication, emails go off at the wrong time, or I missed the appointment, I missed the flight. It's nothing to be scared of. What Mercury retrograde is saying is, you have been rushing all year long. Take a moment to slow down. Pay attention to what you're saying, what you're thinking. This is Mercury. Mercury's thought, it's speech, communication. How are you engaging with technology? How are you moving through the world? Slow down for a moment and let's just tune in, because you could be more efficient in certain areas and save some time. Or maybe you're doing things that are no longer helping you. You are being encouraged to slow down. So if you have to do things more than once, or you find things falling apart, so to speak, it's okay. Mercury's just trying to get your attention because there's a better opportunity or pathway for you. The other thing you want to take into consideration, so first we have the retrograde, then we have the planet, the sign that Mercury is going retrograde in, because that changes each time. Mercury is going retrograde in Sagittarius. This is very much about our beliefs. Sagittarian energy ruled by Jupiter is our beliefs. It's our inspiration. Yeah, it's our exciting adventurer, the one who's ready to go out at a moment's notice. The Sagittarian energy also seeks the truth. They want to know. And you can always count on a Sagittarian friend to tell you the truth. They'll be like, hey, you have toilet paper on the bottom of your shoe and you've got spinach in your teeth. Like they won't hesitate, or they'll let you know. Whereas maybe the Libra would try to kind of like, oh, I think something's on your shoe, or, oh, nice shoes. I love your new shoes. Meaning they're looking for a diplomatic way to say it, because sometimes we worry when we share that spinach is in your teeth thing. We don't want to make a person feel subconscious or badly. But Sagittarian energy is like, okay, come on, let's just get to the truth. Let's get to it. We're not going to waste time. We've got places to go, people to see. And the Sagittarian craves freedom. So when you combine all of this together, this is an opportunity for you to really examine the truths that have been buried, something that has been, when you think about the grooves in yoga, we call it samskara. Like the grooves in a record, we have these patterns that are just created, and we stay in that groove until something knocks us out of it. A retrograde's a great opportunity for us to consciously engage and say, you know what, I've been stuck in this pattern of belief. It might be a family belief. It might be a societal belief. It might be just something that kind of happened across as I was living my life. This is a time to re-examine it, review it, and reassess it. Is this really helping you? And so November 7th, there's this opportunity to say, okay, let me start getting a preview of what the retrograde up ahead is going to be like. What am I going to be able to work with so that you can step into the life you were born to live? Because if you've got an old belief that's holding you back, that has been stuffed down in the kind of the shadows, like the dust bunnies underneath the bed, you'll get frustrated with yourself. Like, oh, I always try to show up. I always try to do this, and it never quite seems to work. I'm listening to the coaches, the gurus, the wise one, but why isn't it working for me? There might be an underlying belief that's tripping you up along the way. So as we go, I'll share more practices, and definitely for my Moon Club members, we'll be diving into this a little bit more on a deeper level, but it's something to take into account. The next thing I want to talk about with this week that makes it very, very interesting. And now when I plan for the week ahead, I look at my Astro software. I take some time to look at the way the planets are talking to each other, aspecting. I'm really concerned about sharing tips with you concerning the moon. Why? Because the moon is our everyday experience. The moon is the fastest moving body, celestial body in the heavens above, that affects your emotions, it affects your stress levels, your energy levels. And when you can tune into what zodiac sign is the moon in, how fast is it moving? Is it moving in a normal kind of way, or is it being a little erratic? It gives you extra guidance in how to work with the energy of the day so that you feel less exhausted by the end of the day, so that you feel like I've actually accomplished something, and you don't beat yourself up if things aren't working according to your original plan. It's like that old quote, want to see God laugh, make plans. If you can figure out which way is the wind blowing, like someone licks their finger, okay, can I go with the wind or am I going to go against it? If I go against the wind, which we can totally do, it's helpful to know that we're going against the wind. It's helpful to know exactly how strong the wind is blowing and in what direction. So even like when we hear, oh, Mercury is going retrograde soon, or, oh, this planet's doing this, there's an eclipse coming, there's a comet coming, wah. Here's the thing. Life isn't happening to you. This is just like turning on the weather report and seeing, okay, there's a hurricane coming through, or there's a snowstorm. We can't do anything about that particular storm as far as dissipating it or dissolving it, unless you want to get into 11th chakra shamanistic type stuff. No. Mastering intuition students, we'll talk about that. No, but what I'm saying is, for us average people, the weather's going to be the weather. And we can either get upset about it and say, why does it always rain on my parade? Or we can say, it's raining. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm going to wear my raincoat. I'll bring my umbrella. I'll wear my boots today. I won't curl my hair, whatever it is. But we don't get upset like, oh, I wore my best shoes and they got ruined by the rain. Why does this always happen to me? Hold on. You are giving your power away if you find yourself ever saying that phrase. Don't let life happen to you. Holy cannoli, beautiful, beautiful, curious seeker. You have free will. Engage with life. Say, it's raining. Fantastic. This stinks, but I have a really cool raincoat I'm going to use, or a new umbrella, or to heck with it. I'm just going to enjoy myself and dance in the rain. Allow yourself that opportunity to, there's a new phrase that I found that I really love from Steve Judd and Ray Levine. They were talking about, rather than going with the flow, flow with the go. And I really liked that. Ray Levine said, if you go with the flow, it's like being a dead fish because you're just letting the current carry you. Rather, if you flow with the go, that implies that you are participating in the current of life. You're paying attention to what's around you, using like the steering or the rudder on your little boat or the paddle to engage, right, Julie? Love flow with the go. It's kind of fun. Holy cannoli. And so I want to jump in with this week, and I want to just share a couple more things about the week ahead. I just feel very passionate taking some more time at the beginning to kind of set up what we're going to experience. And to help me plan for the week, I always go to my moon journal, the inside of the moon journal and planner. I love this. I have created this to really, in many ways, for myself and for many of my clients that I've worked with, when I talk with you and I have found out, like, well, how do I pay attention to the moon? And how do I know how to make the most of it? And how do I know that a Virgo moon is going to help me want to clean more or the like? Collect the data, put it all in one place. And then you have access to sacred practices as well that enable you to really work with that energy in a positive light. So with that being said, I go to my moon journal and I write down everything that's happening in this week ahead, and I plan for it. That way I don't get upset if I have a presentation or I'm making a proposal and it falls flat. I'm like, oh, of course it fell flat. The moon was void, of course. We're going to talk about all of the stuff. But the most important thing that I want to point out is that almost this entire week, all the way up until Friday, the moon is out of bounds. What does that mean? When a planet goes out of bounds, it means that it acts a little unexpectedly, a little erratically, a little rebellious, a little more extreme. So when the moon goes out of bounds, you think about what the moon represents. It's our intuition, it's our emotions, our feelings, it's our day-to-day routines in the sense of how our energy is flowing during the day and how we're engaging with the energies that are present. So when the moon goes out of bounds, you might experience intense emotions and feelings this week, all the way up until Friday when the moon is finally back in bounds. And funny enough, goes into Aquarius. We'll talk about that soon. You might experience heightened intuition. Trust that intuition as you're listening to guidance this week, those little hints, nudges, or inklings. I wanted to combine all of those words. Yeah, and Julie, this is a big week for it to be out of bounds. If you think of us here in the US, we have elections, emotions, I'm all chills. Emotions are going to be running high, and the moon is going to be supporting that. So you want to just take a deep breath and know that everybody's going to be extra emotional this week, most likely. Is everyone as moon sensitive as those of you watching and myself? No, not necessarily. They might look at us and roll their eyes, but they wouldn't necessarily have a moon in Cancer or a moon in Pisces. No, I'm teasing a little bit. But some people are just more sensitive to what's going on with the moon, and they think it's them. They don't understand. But the more that we collect the data, the more that we pay attention to what's happening, the more informed you can become, and you create your own data, your own resource that you can go back to and say, oh, when the moon is out of bounds, I really do feel more emotional. So that's something to keep into account. The other thing that I want to point out, and this is very, very interesting, we've got 2 times this week where the moon goes void, of course, where for those who are Pacific time and Central and Eastern, and even on Tuesday for my friends across the pond, you'll probably feel this, but 5:23 a.m. Eastern until 10:17 a.m. Eastern. So it's almost 5 hours. The moon is void, of course. And that pretty much kicks off our workday for most of us on the East Coast. For those of you on the West Coast, you'll just be waking up. So it's probably not as big of a deal. And for our friends across the pond, it's going to be midday for you, kind of like going into the lunch hours and early afternoon. When the moon is void, of course, think of like, okay, here we are on that current, and we've had our motor going and our paddles going and our rudder. And then all of a sudden, everything's completely still. The motor's not working. The current kind of pauses and just stops. And we're just hanging out. We're just kind of bobbing along, floating along. And as we're doing that, not much is happening. So the common phrase for when a moon is void, of course, is nothing will come of it. Interesting. So between, let's just kind of round it up, 5:30 to almost 10:30 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday, November 5th, Election Day here in the States, this is a time period that the upside of like nothing will come of it is if you have had something that you're worried about, repercussions, or let's say you're paying a bill late, or people love to turn in taxes during this time, kind of like, okay, nothing will come of it. Everything will be fine. If you're getting tests done and you're worried about results, sometimes people try to scale, like we get really detailed, but this is just some examples. The other side of it is, let's say you were going to have a meeting, an early morning meeting, and do something. You might find that you guys just meet and nothing comes of the meeting. You're like, oh my God, that was a waste of an hour. So that early Tuesday morning, do things that are almost kind of like admin or busy work. I wouldn't encourage you to do any sorts of big projects or things that you want to see results from, because nothing will come from it. It's kind of like the universe is pulling energy out of the moment. And to give you a little bit of a background, what it means when the moon goes void of course is that the moon has last spoken to a planet, and then it moves on. It's no longer talking to that planet, and you've got like this little down period before the moon starts its conversation with the next planet. And if I go look, because I don't remember from memory, and something's telling me to double check this, yeah, the last thing the moon talks to on Tuesday is Neptune before she enters Capricorn. So what does that mean? Well, Neptune is a great dissolver. Neptune can sometimes be fantasy or illusion. It could sometimes be fear. So Tuesday morning, if you wake up with fear and anxiety, which seems natural for many of us in the US, many of us are very heart invested in this election, take a deep breath and just ground. Don't let yourself get carried into the lower expression of Neptune, which might carry you away with worry and concern, fear. Say, no, I'm going to hold in my mind the best possible image of an outcome that is going to be uplifting and positive. When it goes into Capricorn, the moon on Tuesday, she's going to go all down to business, and it's going to be very pragmatic. It's going to be very grounded. But in the meantime, take this into account. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, my Moon Club members will go into more detail as we get closer. The other thing that I want to mention, the second time the moon goes void, of course, is Saturday night. Not as big of a deal for many of us because many people are hopefully pausing that late on a Saturday night or evening. But if you're working, heads up, it's going to be from 7:23 until 11 p.m. And so again, good time to just kind of kick back, relax, float along. You're just enjoying, bobbing along. No kind of big headway that you're trying to make. If you wanted to have, and I'll kind of leave it at that. Hopefully it makes sense. I don't want to take too much more time on that. The last thing that I want to talk about with this week that really stood out to me was that there is more than the moon that's going to be out of bounds. Almost the entire week, Venus is out of bounds and Mercury is out of bounds along with the moon. So what does that mean? All right, so we already know the moon out of bounds means emotions are going to be running high. But what does it mean when Mercury's out of bounds? Holy cannoli. Again, remember, out of bounds means erratic, rebellious, a little bit more extreme, unexpected behavior. And you look at, what does Mercury represent? Communication, ideas, thoughts, technology. So when Mercury's out of bounds, knowing that we're going to go into the shadow on Thursday, meaning we're going to get the preview of Mercury in retrograde, thinking is going to be a little bit erratic. I'm going to encourage you, rather than going into a state of the mind, going into worry and extremes and, oh, could this happen and that happen, ground. And when you ground, that root flush fill practice I have is fantastic. If you don't have it and you want it, pop a little tree emoji in the comments and I'll make sure you get a copy. But ground, because of thoughts, if we're engaging with that lower expression of it, could be erratic, could go into anxiety, worry. If we connect to the high frequency of Mercury, creative ideas and solutions, thinking outside the box, new levels of communication. Holy cannoli, this is exciting, especially since it's getting ready to go retrograde in Sagittarius, our beliefs. This is a radical re-examination and retooling of belief system, thought system. Holy cannoli, I'm all goosebumps. Now, Venus out of bounds, what does that mean? Well, Venus is a planet of love, relationships, enjoying yourself, money. And when she's out of bounds, again, a lower expression might be go into complete hedonistic phase, like all the food, shopping spree. I just need to make myself feel comfortable because I'm worried, I'm anxious, don't shop or eat your feelings this week. Ground, because Venus is going to be a little wild. You might be drawn towards unexpected, crazy, wild relationships. That would be out of the norm for you. So I'm going to encourage you, take some time once you're grounded to experience the higher vibration of Venus, which is a re-examination of, well, I'm going into re-examination just because Mercury's getting ready to go retrograde, but this is of your values. What do you value in life? What is important to you? Just take that moment to tune into it, to see what really lights up your heart and brings you joy, and really go into that observer role, which is the overarching energy of this week, which is those hidden buried truths. Whenever we experience, one of the things that I loved studying the yoga practice that I did, we would talk about finding the pathway of the middle, equanimity. We were always striving for harmony or balance. And sometimes in order to find that pathway of the middle, you had to go to either side. You had to go to extremes to figure out, where are my edges? Where are my boundaries? So that I really truly understand what is center for me. Where do I feel in harmony, in peace, in flow, in sync? You might explore your edges this week. Out of bounds planets help you do that. They help you experience the edges so that you can find the pathway of the middle. And remembering, with this Mercury getting ready to go retrograde, it's a radical shift in the way that we've been thinking. And it's a completely new opportunity to re-examine the values and beliefs that you hold dear to your heart. So I'm excited. Those are things that just kind of popped up this week, and the way that they come together, because this is how the energy alchemy comes into this. And this is why I love bringing my Mastering Intuition students through these moments, is that for me, the sacred practices that I've studied over the last 3 decades, whether it was yoga, whether it was with crystals, whether it's reading cards, doing astrology, sound healing, archetypal energy, the priestess process, you start to weave all of these together and you say, wow, if you look at the astrology this week, the way that it's coming together, the way that it's talking, it is a revolutionary week in many ways. And to get you through the week at that high vibrational expression, ground, 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 which I know I say a lot, but it's going to enable you to be present, to be able to be the observer, to see the hidden truths without getting whacked or without feeling ashamed or beating yourself up. Like, I can't believe that I would do something like that, or that I could be in a relationship like that, or sabotage myself. I wasted cancel, clear, delete. Take a step back, and in that observer role, you ground. Okay, that was a lot to take in. Let me know how you're feeling, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about more the moon's perspective this week and how you can harness the moon specifically on a day-to-day basis. All right, Cindy. So we have Cindy LaSalle and Cindy Heck. So great to have both of you today. So deep breath. The first thing is the overarching energy of the moon. I like to look at the phase of the moon of the week. So we just had a new moon last week, and this week the moon is a waxing crescent all the way until first quarter moon, which is Saturday. And what that means is that as the moon is growing in light, so is your energy. Whatever new moon intention that you planted, maybe it was, I'm going to work on this project. I'm going to, work on this area of my house. I'm going to get ready to launch a program. This is the week where you're doing the research, you're collecting the data, you're talking to people, you're getting information, you're making appointments. Great for that, to support your new moon intention. And then by the time you get to Saturday, first quarter, you should have enough data and information to start making cuts. So for example, let's say you were getting ready to write a book and you thought, okay, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to focus on I'm working on a book about the moon and using the moon to help handle moments and periods of stress. And I'm thinking about, a section on, we'll just talk about the moon and the zodiac sign. And oh my goodness, let's talk about the phases of the moon. And let's talk about this and that. And maybe you talk to some people and you realize, that's way too much information. This person, my good confidant and friend, they told me I'd be overwhelmed if I read that. It's too much in the beginning. So by Saturday, you say, okay, I did my market research and I realized that this will be overwhelming. So that may be part of book 2. I'm going to hone in and focus on just these areas because that would be most helpful to the people in my world. So that's kind of a real life example of what I mean by first quarter. So just take that into account. Energy's building, and then the full moon will be on November 17th. All righty, let's talk about days of the week. Monday, we kick off with the adventurous Sagittarian moon. Let's just ask what's most important that you need to know. Knight of Pentacles, take your time. Even though the world is rushing around you, everything's going on and moving quickly, he's not in a rush. He's walking barefoot, for goodness sake. So he has to walk even more slowly and be even more aware so he doesn't step on rocks and twigs and sharp things. He is planting and investing in his future. He knows what he's doing now is not going to show results tonight or tomorrow, but he's playing the long game. He's thinking big picture vision. So Monday, let's talk about the Sagittarian moon. Sagittarius, I love that we kick it off with all this fire, is about beliefs. Sagittarius energy is beliefs. This is what Mercury is going to be retrograding in. It is about optimism. It is about freedom. It is about seeking the truth. I'm going to encourage you today, if you have some time, take a moment to just pause and say, what is my big vision? Where do I want to go? How does my truth right now, if I take a moment to examine my truths, does the vision and my truths, do they align? Or is there a discord? Because if there's discord, it's not going to work. That's one of the places where we sabotage ourselves. So for example, maybe you say, oh, my big picture vision is to work for a Fortune 500 company, or to get my doctorate, or to create my own business, or leave corporate. And then you tune into your truths, and you may discover something with your truths along the lines of, well, it's very important that I don't have to put my child in daycare. And, or maybe you tune in and you say, it's very important that I don't have to leave my fur babies alone all day long. And you realize, okay, well, if I were to work for this company or pursue that PhD, I wouldn't be able to be there holding that truth, that value, that it's so important to have quality time with my loved ones or my fur babies. I know I was going to say, it's separation anxiety for me. My dogs are fine. They're like, go mom, no problem. And I'm like, no, will you be okay? Got to go to the grocery store. And they're fine. They look at me and roll their little puppy eyes. But it's just kind of a silly example, but one to make you laugh. Tuesday, remembering void of course moon, 5:23 a.m. Eastern to 10:17 a.m. Eastern. Take that into account. Do the calculations for your time zone. My apologies, I'm Eastern time, so I'm a little biased here. The moon starts off in Sagittarius, but moves into Capricorn at 10:18, so after the void of course. So you might still be waking up, thinking about beliefs and thinking about, those things you hold dear to your heart, but you're going to move into Capricorn energy soon. So we're going to ask what's most, popping out. Most important, good news coming in. Oh, I really like this one. Good news coming in on November 5th. What? I feel like everybody's saying such doom and gloom things about the US election. Good news. Holy cannoli. Well, now I'm excited to see what happens. And it's kind of like, well, Irina, good news for who? Because obviously somebody's going to be disappointed. But good news. I love it. But what if, holy cannoli, what if our faith in humanity, our faith in coming together, oh my gosh, oh, my heart's so excited. There has been this great divisiveness that has happened among so many people. And if you want to create discord and disharmony, holy cannoli, I mean, Shakespeare laid it out, just whisper a couple of like little mistruths or reshape the truth, a little differently, and chaos and misfortune ensues. My brother's a Shakespearean actor. I'm so proud. He's in Boston right now performing. Very excited. But that's kind of why I go to the Shakespeare acts sometimes. But it's so fascinating. And ever since I was a child, it fascinated me how a little whisper of something, a little mistruth or exaggerating. Think of all the planets that are out of bounds. That also amplifies exaggerates the feeling. Yeah, Shakespeare rocks, right, Julie? So think of this moment as all these crazy little mysteries that have been spread around. But what if people came together and they said, hey, listen, yes, we have different beliefs. Yes, we have different values, but enough of the divisiveness, because that's what the Aquarian energy is about. We are moving into the age of Aquarius. Capricorn, which is Capricorn, sorry, Pluto, which has been in Capricorn for so long, so long right now, over 2 decades, has been perpetuating this top-down traditional structure and system, and is getting ready to go into Aquarius very, very soon. And that is about humanity. It is about we the people. It is about coming together. No more divisiveness, no more top-down, a few people in charge. But this is about coming together. And what if our community surprises us? What if people come together in such a way that says, hey, we're not going to be manipulated in such a way that we're gonna end up fighting each other. And I'm gonna just put it that way. Wow, well, now I'm excited to see what happens. I was kind of dreading the day. Wow, I'm curious. I don't know about you guys, so I'm gonna have to make big notes to myself. Wednesday. So Wednesday, moon's in Capricorn, out of bounds. What's most important that you need to know? And 2 things are hopping out. Okay. So Magician, you have everything at your fingertips that you need, all of the resources, all of the tools. You have the ability to create an incredible world. You have the ability to create your dreams. And it's just a simple matter of recognizing that you have access to the resources that you need. You don't have to say, I can't start, I can't begin because I don't have A, B, C, X, Y, Z. And this can go along a lot of lines. So if I were to give a quick example, it could be like, oh, I can't start exercising because I don't have a gym membership. It's like, well, you could go outside and walk, or you could do jumping jacks. You don't necessarily need a gym membership. So watch for the beliefs or the old things. Like sometimes people might say, oh, I can't start my business because I don't have a website, or I don't have brand colors, or I don't have professional headshots. Or they might say, I can't go for that job because I don't have the degree. You might have the life experience. So this is that reminder that you have more than you realize. And the beautiful 9 of Wands also popped up, which she is resilient. Look how far she's come. And she is strong. Yes, she is road weary and she's exhausted, but she's not giving up. She knows she's so close. This is a reminder that when we try to do all the things at once, we can feel overwhelmed, and sometimes we can feel like we fail. Think of like the old adage, if you have like a bunch of pencils and you try to break them, it's like, oh, I can't break the pencils. I'm not strong enough. But if you take the one pencil and you try to break it, you can. You're like, oh, okay, I'm stronger than I realized. So this is that reminder. Don't let those old beliefs make you think you don't have what it takes to make it. You do. And you have the life experience to get you there and the strength and resilience to. You might just have to let go of a few of the projects in order to have the breathing room to truly get there with ease and not feel like, oh, it fell apart again. Because Capricorn is an energy where the moon's going to be on Wednesday. It's business. It's visionary. It's not personal. It's business. Capricorn's my opposite to my moon. So I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? It's all personal. Capricorn energy says, no. It's like, just brush it off, get up. It's a flesh wound. Like, are you going to bleed out? No, you're fine. The skin's hanging out. Capricorns are tough. They are the mountain goat. They can negotiate incredible rocky terrain with ease and grace. Draw on that strength, draw on that experience. Wednesday's a great day to really have the objective look at what are you doing and where are you going with your life? What's happening? Thursday, the moon starts off in Capricorn. Mars goes into shadow. So it's all that belief. We've got all those planets out of bounds, moon's out of bounds. Mercury, Venus, and Ceres, which is a large asteroid. We'll talk about her another time. But you got a lot of out of bounds erratic energy. So Thursday, what's most important that you need to know? My favorite sexy little devil. Hello, hubba hubba. Okay, friends, Where have you been sabotaging yourself? This is, well, me and the chocolate. I love right now. My kick is like the bag of Ghirardelli chocolate chips. And I know when I get stressed or I'm feeling less than or I'm tired, I go for that bag of chips. So an example, okay, you could say, okay, we'll develop other strategy, discipline, self-willpower, yada, yada. Okay, whatever. But the thing is, Irina, stop buying the chocolate chips. The devil is we keep buying the chocolate chips. We keep setting ourselves up in situations where we will sabotage ourselves or trip ourselves up, or we will be in a situation where we think, oh, I failed again. I didn't do it. I knew that would happen. This is saying be aware of the areas that you sabotage yourself in, where you're your own worst enemy. The devil card isn't anything outside of us, any scary, nefarious character in this sense that's doing something bad to us. This is when we're not being truthful and honest with ourselves, and when we're doing things that are not in our highest and best interest. Maybe we're trying to make sure that we're using our time in such a way that we are more productive, and we get caught up scrolling social media, or we stay up too late and we had wanted to go to the gym early in the morning, or we eat, the food that's not right, or we hang out with the people who make us feel less than about ourselves. Things like that. So be aware. And that makes sense for the Mercury in Shadow Day, where we are starting to get the preview of the upcoming retrograde. We're just re-examining beliefs. What beliefs have kept you stuck and feeling trapped? Okay, so Thursday, Moon is finally in bounds. This is going to be interesting. So I'm going to encourage you, Thursday, be aware of your emotions. See if they shift for you at all. See if things feel like, okay, now I'm not so emotional. I feel a little bit more like myself. I'm not reacting so quickly or crying at the drop of a hat or getting angry. And knowing where your moon is when you were born can be helpful, because your moon, when we get stressed, we go to our moon. And so if you have a moon in Aries, you might feel like a hothead. Your temper might be really just easily explosive this week. Moon in Cancer, you might be crying at the drop of a hat. Moon in Libra, you might be asking everybody else for their opinion before you can make a decision. Just know these things about yourself. And if you don't know where your moon is, reach out to me. We'll set up a time to play and I can help you figure that out. Thursday, Moon in Bounds, Moon in Aquarius. Let's first just ask what's most important that you need to know about Thursday's energy. A gift is coming your way. Ace of Pentacles is a gift of physicality. It's a resource. Many times people see it as a gift of money. It could be something that's coming your way that is tangible, physical, but brings a smile to your heart. Keep your eyes open for unknown blessings already on their way to you. I love that. And Cindy, you said you needed to be here because all this info is applying to you. Wow. Yeah, most definitely. Wow. I'm so glad you're here, Cindy. And again, it's no mistake that you're tuning in at this moment in time and hearing this information and guidance. And I know I'm going extra long today, but I feel like there's a lot going on this week that might have just subtly kind of crept along underneath the radar. But again, pulling on the energy alchemist in my heart, pulling on all these sacred traditions, I'm picking up on these things. So, all right. So when the moon is in Aquarius, I just want to say on Friday, yes, unknown, unexpected blessings coming your way, but a moon in Aquarius is also very objective. This is kind of cool. So we start with this out of bounds, extra emotional moon, but we have it in Capricorn. So then it goes into Aquarius. Lean on those signs to be pragmatic. Lean on those signs to go into the role of observer. Lean on those signs to enable you to get some clarity without the emotions overwhelming and overfogging the situation. Okay, Saturday. So Saturday, moon starts off in Aquarius. It's the first quarter. Let's just ask what's most important that you need to know as we go into Saturday's energy. I love this beautiful laughing sage and wise one. So the Hierophant, the traditional card shows a very strict, almost like the Pope. He's in his robes. He has two monks in front of him kneeling. And this spiritual guru is laughing. And you see this path, the pathway leads to God. And what are the pathways in the heavens above? It's hard to see, but if you look closely, you have the beautiful Om symbol from the yoga world. You have the Iskis, which is so hard for me to pronounce, that represents Christian faiths. You have the Triskelion, a lot of the Celtic. You even have a pentagram there. But it is this beautiful lotus flower. He is representing, like that bumper sticker, coexist, finding that pathway to enlightenment, samadhi, bliss, awareness. I'm called to share with you, again, the pathway of the yogi. Part of the path of a yogi is to have enlightenment. And what is enlightenment or samadhi? Sometimes people see it and they think it's it's a one-stop place, like you're going towards it. It's a destination, and once you arrive, you're there. I want to invite you rather to think about it like the tons of little God moments throughout the day where you just feel at peace. You feel in flow. You're flowing with the go. You feel in synchronicity. You feel present, and you feel God's peace, God's love, source, creator, higher power, however you call that name, whatever name you use to represent that higher power. But this is a moment, lots of little moments of awareness where we come to connection. Saturday rather, because we're talking first quarter, Saturday offers that opportunity. And Aquarian energy really allows you to be cutting edge when it comes to this. The Aquarian energy is rebellious. It is very much ahead of its time, and it's aware of the frequencies around them. Okay, Saturday, we move into Sunday. Sunday, moon is in Pisces. What's most important for you to know? Hardest part is over. We're walking towards the light. The new energy is already coming in. So if this week is an emotional week, if it feels overwhelming, if anxiety is running, if you're starting to have all these truths revealed to you, you ground and you know that there's light at the end of the week, that there is something new on the horizon. There's something bright and beautiful waiting for you. And the Pisces moon, Pisces is an energy. Yes, it's water, so it's emotional, it's intuitive, but Pisces energy, you have Pisces and Virgo on the same axis on the zodiac. And the Pisces and the Virgos are very much about stepping forward to make a difference in this world. How can I serve? How can I make a difference? What healing can I bring to this world? So Sunday, healing is present. Healing for yourself, you stepping forward to offer healing experiences for others. And I'm going to encourage you to incorporate water and music in your Sunday, whether that's a bath with good music playing or being by a body of water or going to a concert by the water, on the water. It can make a difference. All right. Thank you everyone so much for being here. I am going to pop in really quickly to the comments. Let's see if I can do this. Information on the Moon Club. So if you're not a part of Moon Club yet, then definitely check it out, irinamiller.co/club. In the club, what we do is we look at where the moon is. We have monthly moon mapping sessions. So we look at a whole month ahead to figure out how to plan our month. We have new moon rituals, full moon rituals, and little insights as we go along the week with sacred practices to help you make the most of the week. And of course, I'm in there answering questions too. All right. Thank you, Cindy, for being here. Both Cindy LaSalle, Cindy Heck, Karen. So great to have you. And thank you, Julie, for joining me on YouTube. I hope you all have an amazing day. And if you're watching in a place where you can like this video, you can subscribe, please do. It helps me out so much to get this message out to others and to help pop this up in the algorithm for people as they're searching for intuitive and astrological guidance. And if it's been helpful, please do share it with a friend. All right, lots and lots of love. And I thank you for being here, for the work that you do. It is a joy to spend these Monday mornings with you. I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys. Have a great week, too.